As the shimmering portal stabilized in the corner of the United Nations Grand Assembly Hall, a collective gasp echoed among the gathered dignitaries. A figure emerged, tall and ethereal, with skin that glowed like the heart of a nebula. This was Ambassador Leara, the first extraterrestrial diplomat to visit Earth, representing a mysterious race known only as the Valaris. From the outset, it was clear that Leara held a thinly veiled disdain for humanity. Her eyes, large and luminescent under her flowing silver hair, flickered with disapproval as she surveyed the room filled with humans. Her first speech was punctuated with subtle digs at human barbarism, environmental destruction, and the petty squabbles that often dominated international relations. Despite her critical stance, the United Nations had to engage. Earth was on the cusp of being admitted into the Galactic Council, a body governing interstellar relations and peace, and the Valaris were influential members. Leara's cooperation was not just beneficial, it was essential. Assigned to assist her during her stay was Dr. Jacob Rice, a young but brilliant linguist and cultural anthropologist. Jacob was optimistic, eager to bridge the gap between human and alien perceptions. However, his first meeting with Leara was less than ideal. "Dr. Rice," Leara began, her voice cool and melodic, "I am here to assess whether your species is ready to join the Galactic Council. Frankly, I have my reservations." Jacob, undeterred, responded with a warm smile. "Ambassador, I hope to show you the best of what humanity has to offer. We have much to learn, but also much to share." Leara scoffed softly. "We shall see, Dr. Rice, we shall see." Over the following weeks, Jacob took Leara to various Earth landmarks, ancient ruins, modern marvels, and natural wonders. He introduced her to diverse cultures and cuisines, hoping to reveal the richness of human life. Yet, no matter the spectacle, Leara remained mostly unimpressed, her comments sharp and her observations critical. However, a turning point came unexpectedly during a visit to a small village in Italy. They had arrived during a festival, and the villagers, unaware of Leara's extraterrestrial origin under her hooded cloak, welcomed them with open arms. Music filled the air, and children danced around them, pulling at Leara's hands to join in. For the first time, a genuine smile broke through her stoic facade as a little girl, with a crown of flowers in her hair, hugged her tightly. Jacob watched as Leara's eyes softened, her usual cool demeanor warming in the glow of the festival lights. That night, as they sat watching the stars from a quiet hilltop, Leara spoke more openly than before. "Dr. Rice, today was illuminating. I admit there is a certain charm to your species when seen in this light." Encouraged, Jacob said, "There's more to us than our mistakes, Ambassador. Sometimes it just takes a little patience and understanding to see it." Leara turned to him, her gaze thoughtful. "Perhaps, Dr. Rice, perhaps, but there are still many chapters to your story that I need to read." As they descended back to the village, a subtle change had occurred. The rigid diplomat from the stars was beginning to see humanity through a new lens, a lens tinted not just with tolerance, but with a budding curiosity, and perhaps a hint of admiration. Jacob dared to hope that maybe, just maybe, the story of Leara and humanity was only just beginning. In the days that followed, Leara's experiences on Earth shifted subtly from formal inspections to personal discoveries. Jacob tailored their itinerary to include unscripted interactions, focusing on spontaneous human encounters rather than orchestrated displays of culture and technology. One morning, they visited a renowned research facility where humans were developing technology to clean oceans using bioengineered algae. Leara, with her species' advanced ecological technologies, watched the scientists with a critical eye. Yet as she spoke with them, her tone held less disdain and more curiosity. "Why choose such a laborious path when there are more efficient ways to achieve the same outcome?" she asked, genuinely puzzled. A young scientist looked up from her microscope, smiling. "Because sometimes the journey teaches us more than the destination. We learn, we adapt, and sometimes we even stumble upon solutions we never imagined." Leara pondered this, her gaze lingering on the bustling lab around her. It was chaotic, yet driven by a palpable passion, a stark contrast to the orderly and controlled environment of Leara's technology centers. Later that week, Jacob and Leara attended a concert in New York City. The music was a fusion of electronic and classical, a testament to human creativity. As the vibrant sounds filled the air, Leara's usual reserve melted away. Moved by the rhythm, she found herself swaying slightly. Her usual rigid posture relaxed. Seeing her guard down, Jacob leaned closer, speaking over the music. Music, like science, is universal, but the emotions it evokes are uniquely experienced. Leara turned to him, her eyes reflecting the stage lights. Is this what you were eager for me to understand? The emotional spectrum of your species? It's one of the many facets, Jacob replied. Emotions drive us to explore, to create, to connect. They are as much a part of our advancements as our intellect. As the night grew deeper, they found themselves in a quiet cafe, the city's skyline sprawling before them. The conversation turned to the stars, to the vastness they both knew so well, yet saw so differently. Leara spoke of the Valaris's first ventures into space, driven by necessity rather than curiosity. Her voice held a hint of envy when she described how the Valaris had watched other species, like humans, explore space with a zest that seemed frivolous yet fascinating to her. And now you're here, learning about us firsthand, Jacob noted. Does it change how you see us? Leara considered this, her look introspective. I am beginning to perceive that what I once viewed as your weaknesses, your emotional drives, might actually be your strength. The evening waned, and the city's lights flickered like distant stars. As they stood to leave, Leara's farewell was not just formal, but warm, a reflection of her evolving view of the human race. Their days together continued, each one peeling back a layer of misunderstanding and prejudice. With every human encounter, Leara's perception shifted, tilting towards something neither purely scientific nor entirely diplomatic. Something distinctly personal was taking root. As they prepared for their next visit, a space launch intended to deploy the latest in Earth satellite technology, Leara found herself not just accompanying Jacob, but actively participating, engaging with the engineers and asking insightful questions. Her transformation was subtle but undeniable, driven by a burgeoning respect for the tenacity and ingenuity of the human spirit. As the rocket soared into the azure sky, tracing a fiery arc towards the heavens, Leara stood beside Jacob, her eyes wide with a rare expression of wonder. The launch site was abuzz with cheers and applause, but for a moment it was as if they stood alone, enveloped by the monumental achievement of humanity. "This," Jacob shouted over the roar, "is what we are capable of when we put our minds and hearts into it." Leara nodded, the sight stirring something within her, a feeling that had been foreign to her structured mind. "It's impressive," she admitted, her voice tinged with genuine awe. "Your species has a remarkable resilience and an undeniable drive." Their next visit was to an underwater habitat off the coast of Bermuda, where humans were experimenting with living in extreme environments. As they descended into the ocean's depths in a submersible, the blue darkness enveloped them, a stark contrast to the boundless skies they had explored just days before. Inside the habitat, they met with marine biologists who shared their research on sustainable living undersea. Leara listened intently as the scientists described their hopes of using such habitats as stepping stones for living on other water-rich worlds. Leara's questions were pointed, her expertise in exoplanetary environments enriching the dialogue. "Have you considered the psychological effects of such isolation?" she asked, drawing on her own people's experiences on distant barren planets. One of the researchers responded with enthusiasm. "Yes, and that's why we're studying human adaptability in such conditions. It's not just about surviving, but thriving." The concept resonated with Leara, mirroring her own people's challenges in adapting to different planetary conditions. She found herself more engaged, her usual aloofness replaced by a collaborative spirit. After resurfacing, they walked along the beach under the starlit sky. Leara broke the silence. "Your kind embraces such challenges with vigor. There is an underlying hope in your actions, a belief in the possibility of a better future." Jacob smiled, picking up a shell and examining its intricate patterns. "Hope is what drives us. We look at the stars and see not just challenges but opportunities." She paused, considering his words. "And it is in these hopes you find the strength to continue, despite the odds." "Yes," Jacob agreed, tossing the shell back into the sea. "It's about finding balance between what we know and what we hope to discover." As they prepared for the final leg of their tour, an international conference where Leara would present her findings, the ambassador found herself drafting her report with a new perspective. The document was still analytical, yet there was a new layer to her observations, a nuanced appreciation of human tenacity and adaptability. On the eve of the conference, Leara rehearsed her speech in the presence of Jacob. She spoke of Earth's potential membership in the Galactic Council not as a foregone conclusion, but as a matter to be seriously considered, highlighting both the strengths and weaknesses of humanity with a fairness that had been absent in her initial reports. Jacob listened, noting the shift in her tone and content. "You've come a long way, Ambassador," he said after she finished. Leara looked at him, a slight smile playing on her lips. "So has my understanding of your people. This assignment has been enlightening." As they walked back to the conference hall, the early morning light crested the horizon, casting a golden glow over the city. Leara stopped, looking back at the path they had taken, both literal and metaphorical. She realized that her mission had changed her in ways she had not anticipated, opening her mind to the potential not just of what could be taught, but also of what could be learned from the resilience. The conference hall buzzed with anticipation as representatives from various planetary systems gathered. There forms a spectrum of interstellar diversity. At the heart of this assembly was Earth, a candidate on the verge of broader cosmic integration. Jacob and Leara entered together, her presence now less of an anomaly and more a symbol of potential unity. As Leara ascended the podium, the murmurs subsided into a respectful silence. She began her address, her voice clear and resonant. "Members of the Galactic Council, I stand before you not only as an ambassador of the Valaris, but as a witness to the spirit of humanity." She detailed her observations, recounting her experiences from the launch site to the underwater habitat, her insights sharp but tempered with an emerging respect. "Humans possess a unique blend of creativity and determination, qualities that are invaluable to our collective endeavors in the galaxy." In the audience, a representative from a technologically advanced planet raised a question. "Ambassador Leara, while your report highlights commendable traits, how do you address the inherent volatility and emotional extremities of humans? Are they not a risk to the delicate balance of our council?" Leara paused, considering her response. "Indeed, humanity is not without its flaws. However, it is their capacity for emotional depth that drives their resilience and ingenuity. In my time among them, I have seen that what might be perceived as volatility is often a wellspring for innovation and adaptability." The debate that followed was intense, with various factions expressing both support and concern. Jacob watched, proud of Leara's defense, but anxious about the outcome. Later, as the day's sessions concluded, Leara and Jacob discussed the proceedings over a quiet dinner. The ambassador seemed contemplative, her usual poise touched with a trace of uncertainty. "Today I spoke of humanity's potential contributions to the Council," she said, "but I also find myself reflecting on what the Valaris might learn from them. This exchange of ideas, this collaboration could enrich us all." Jacob nodded, his expression thoughtful. "It's a two-way street, Ambassador. Just as we stand to gain from the Council's guidance in advanced technologies, so too does the Council benefit from fresh perspectives." Their conversation drifted to other matters, philosophy, art, and the myriad forms of expression that had fascinated Leara during her stay. She listened intently to Jacob's descriptions of Earth's cultural richness, realizing that each narrative added depth to her understanding of the human condition. The following morning they visited a renowned university where Leara was to give a lecture on interstellar diplomacy. The audience, mostly students and faculty, was eager to hear from the alien visitor. Leara shared insights into the Council's operations and her role as an ambassador, but she also emphasized the importance of cultural sensitivity and mutual respect in galactic relations. A student asked, "Ambassador, what has surprised you most about Earth?" Leara smiled, a rare and genuine expression that had become more frequent. "Your planet reminds me of the importance of perspective. Being here has shown me that understanding comes not just from observation but from engagement. You celebrate not only your triumphs but also embrace your failures as opportunities for growth." As they left the university, Jacob felt a sense of accomplishment. Regardless of the Council's final decision, the exchange between Earth and the Valaris had already fostered changes that went beyond protocols and treaties. That evening, as they prepared for the final day of the conference, Leara reviewed her closing remarks, which now included not just a call for Earth's admission, but a proposal for an ongoing cultural exchange program. This initiative, she hoped, would pave the way for a deeper understanding and cooperation among all Council species. The horizon of their partnership, once delineated by duty and protocol, had expanded into realms of shared knowledge and mutual curiosity. On the final day of the conference, the air was thick with anticipation. Delegates from across the galaxy filled the seats of the assembly hall, their varied forms a testament to the diversity of life that the universe harbored. Leara took her place at the podium, her posture impeccable, yet there was a new lightness to her demeanor that spoke of changed perspectives. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice carrying across the room. "Today I propose not only Earth's admission but also the initiation of a broader cultural exchange program. Such a program would allow all member species to share knowledge and culture, to better understand each other, and to strengthen our unity." The hall erupted in a mix of applause and murmurs. A seasoned diplomat from a member planet stood, addressing the assembly. "Ambassador Leara, while your proposal is ambitious, how do you suggest we implement such a program without compromising our own cultural integrity?" Leara responded with confidence, her time among humans having sharpened her diplomatic acumen. "By fostering an environment of mutual respect and curiosity, we can design it to be a platform for dialogue and learning, not assimilation. Each species has unique qualities that, when shared, enrich us all without diminishing our own identities." As the debate continued, Jacob watched Leara navigate the complex dynamics of the Council with a newfound respect. Her ability to articulate the nuances of human culture and advocate for inclusivity was influencing even the most skeptical of members. After hours of discussion, the Council voted to commence a preliminary phase of the cultural exchange program, with Earth's admission to be revisited after an evaluation period. While not an outright victory, it was a significant step forward. Following the session, Leara and Jacob walked through the garden surrounding the conference center, reflecting on the events. The alien flora provided a serene backdrop to their conversation. "Your advocacy today was impressive," Jacob commented, looking over at Leara, who seemed more at ease among the alien landscapes than ever before. "It was inspired by my experiences with your world," she admitted. "The diversity and vibrancy of Earth are compelling. It's difficult not to advocate for a species that, despite its flaws, shows remarkable promise." They paused by a shimmering water feature, watching as a creature resembling a large butterfly skimmed the surface. Leara continued, "I have learned much from humans about resilience and passion. It makes me hopeful for what our species can learn from each other." Jacob smiled, sensing the profound impact their exchanges had made on both of them. "And I've learned a lot about patience and perspective from you. It's a partnership that I hope will continue to grow." As the evening drew to a close, they returned to the assembly to hear the final resolutions. The decision to trial the cultural exchange program was met with optimism, and many delegates approached Leara and Jacob, expressing interest in visiting Earth and inviting them to their worlds. The next morning, as Leara prepared to depart Earth, she and Jacob shared a farewell at the spaceport. "Thank you, Dr. Rice, for everything. This has been an enlightening assignment, one that I shall never forget." Jacob nodded, feeling a mix of sadness and accomplishment. "Safe travels, Ambassador. Earth will always have a friend in you, and hopefully, in the Valaris. As her ship ascended into the sky, disappearing into the cosmos, Jacob felt a profound sense of connection, not just to Leara or the Valaris, but to the galaxy at large. The future was uncertain, but it was filled with possibilities, ready to be explored and understood, just like the stars above. As Leara's spacecraft threaded through the star-studded cosmos, she reflected on her transformative journey on Earth. The planet, with all its contradictions and colors, had imprinted on her a nuanced understanding of its inhabitants. Now, as the Earth receded into a speck in the vastness of space, she felt a lingering connection to its blue oceans and bustling cities, a stark contrast to her earlier apprehension about the assignment. Back on Earth, Jacob returned to his daily routines, yet the world seemed altered, expanded by his interstellar diplomatic experience. His conversations with Leara had enriched his perspective, making his academic pursuits feel more vibrant and imperative. He often found himself gazing up at the night sky, wondering about the ongoing dialogues happening across the galaxy, sparked by their joint efforts. Meanwhile, at the Galactic Council headquarters, the preliminary cultural exchange program was taking shape. Inspired by Leara's proposals and the positive reception from various planetary delegates, the program was designed to be a mosaic of interstellar cultures, offering immersive experiences in art, science, and philosophy. Each participating species was keen to showcase their heritage while learning from others, creating a tapestry of shared knowledge and respect. Leara was appointed as one of the overseers of the program, a role she embraced with newfound enthusiasm. Her experiences on Earth had shown her the potential of such exchanges, and she was determined to ensure its success. She organized symposiums, exhibitions, and collaborative projects, each event building bridges where there had once been voids. Months passed, and the impact of the cultural exchange program began to manifest. Stories of understanding and friendship circulated, weaving new narratives into the fabric of galactic society. Skeptics of the program were gradually won over as they witnessed the tangible benefits of increased empathy and cooperation. As the program's first anniversary approached, a grand celebration was planned on a neutral space station, attended by delegates from all participating worlds. Jacob was invited as a guest of honor, his role in initiating this wave of galactic harmony recognized and celebrated. Upon his arrival, Jacob was greeted by Leara, who now stood not just as a diplomat but as a friend. Their reunion was warm, marked by a mutual respect that had grown from their shared experiences. Together they toured the exhibition halls, marveling at the displays of alien art, technology, and cuisine. During the celebration, Leara gave a speech, her words echoing through the chamber. This program began as an experiment, an endeavor to understand the other, to see beyond our differences. Today it stands as proof that our diversity is our strength, that learning from each other enriches us all. Jacob watched her speak, proud of the role he had played in this historical moment. The memories of their first uncertain meeting seemed distant now, overshadowed by the success of their collaborative efforts. As the event concluded, Leara and Jacob stood looking out at the stars from the observation deck of the space station. "What do you think the future holds for us?" Jacob asked, his voice tinged with hope. Leara smiled, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "Opportunity, challenges, but above all, endless possibilities for growth. We have started something wonderful here, Jacob, and it will continue to evolve, just like the universe itself." They turned their gaze back to the crowd, where beings from different worlds mingled, their laughter and conversations a symphony of newfound kinship. It was a vision of the future, a galaxy not defined by its differences, but united by its shared curiosity and dreams. As the celebration faded into the night, the bonds formed under the Galactic Initiative promised a brighter, more inclusive future. And somewhere among the stars, Earth continued its orbit, a once isolated world now a pivotal part of a vast and friendly cosmos.